Hi, Rangers faithful. What a moment to be alive if you wear royal blue in your heart, because the landscape around Ibrox is shifting again, and there is plenty brewing beneath the surface that every true supporter needs to get their head around. And it starts with a situation that feels all too familiar in recent seasons. Another chapter in the uncertain future of Kieran Dowell and what this means for the direction of the squad going into the heart of the campaign. Right now, there is a growing sense inside the club that Dowell is edging closer to yet another temporary spell away from Glasgow, and the mood around it is not one of surprise, more like acceptance mixed with frustration from different corners of the support. The midfielder, now 28 years of age, had hoped that his return from a spell in England would mark a fresh start, but the reality has hit much harder than any of us expected. Last season at Birmingham gave him minutes, rhythm, and a taste of success with promotion, but it did not change how he fits into this Rangers team, and that has become painfully obvious with how little he has featured since coming back. What makes this situation feel heavier is the timing. Expectations had been quietly building that Dowell's long-term future would be decided closer to the end of his contract, but with the winter window approaching, the feeling that a move is coming has quickened. There was a short moment of hope when the new manager came in, that he might look at the players on the edge of the squad with fresh eyes, wipe the slate clean, and give them the platform to prove themselves all over again. That optimism did not last long. Dowell has barely been part of the picture, and his last meaningful appearance still stands as a full 90 minutes played back in the summer, which tells you everything about where he stands in the current hierarchy. From England, the interest has started to take more concrete shape. A championship side has been monitoring his situation closely and sees him as a realistic option for a loan move. The player himself is understood to be open to the idea, not because he has given up on Rangers, but because every footballer at this level knows that sitting on the sidelines is the fastest way for a career to lose momentum. He wants minutes, he wants responsibility, and he wants to feel important on a pitch again. Heading back down south feels like a chance to reset his story, to remind people of what he can offer when he is trusted and in rhythm. At the same time, the club finds itself at a crossroads philosophically. Allowing another loan may solve a short-term problem by trimming the matchday squad and easing some pressure, but it does not solve the bigger question of planning and strategy. Rangers have been trying to streamline the group, not just in terms of numbers, but in terms of identity and clarity of roles. Sending Dowell out again without a permanent resolution feels like pressing pause instead of making a decisive call. It creates a grey area where no one really wins, and that is something that sits uncomfortably with a support that has grown tired of half measures. There is also the financial side that cannot be ignored. When a player is clearly not part of the immediate plans, the logic of moving him on permanently becomes stronger because it frees resources and space for players who are truly wanted. Another loan places a temporary patch on what is in truth a structural issue. For a club that constantly talks about building towards something sustainable and competitive, these moments matter more than people often realize. They shape the balance of the squad not just for months, but for seasons. While that situation develops, attention has also shifted to the pitch, where recent results have masked deeper debates among the support. A comfortable win should have been a day of calm satisfaction, but instead it reopened a wound that has been quietly growing around the defensive line. One particular defender has found himself in the eye of the storm, and the reaction from the stands and online spaces has been impossible to ignore. On the ball, his qualities stand out. He is comfortable, confident, and capable of stepping into midfield areas to keep possession flowing. Against recent opposition, he completed more passes than anyone else, which on paper sounds like the mark of control and authority, but football is not played on paper, and Rangers supporters are not worried about what he offers in build-up. The anxiety lives in the moments without the ball, in the spaces behind the line, and in the decisions that have to be made in a split second under pressure. Time and again, his positioning has looked uncertain, his reactions a fraction slow, and his reading of danger not at the level this club demands. Rangers were not punished this time, but the sense among the support is that it is only a matter of time if nothing changes. Those tiny lapses build a bigger picture of fragility, and for a team that prides itself on solidity and authority, that feeling is hard to accept. Part of the sympathy comes from understanding the context. The manager is not working with a full deck of cards. Key options in the heart of defense remain sidelined, and that has forced his hand in selection. When choices are limited, trust becomes a fragile thing, yet supporters are not in the mood for patience when they see recurring patterns of mistakes that could and should be cut out. Social platforms have been flooded with raw, emotional reactions that paint the mood clearly: frustration, disbelief, and a growing demand for change as soon as the window opens. What adds another layer to the conversation is the situation of a young centre-back who has yet to be given a single minute this season. Some remember how he finished the previous campaign with a string of performances that suggested real promise, not perfection, but potential. He understands the rhythm of the league, the physical demands, and the particular type of pressure that comes with wearing this shirt. For many supporters, he represents a gamble worth taking, not because he is flawless, but because his profile feels more natural to the demands of Scottish football and the identity Rangers have always valued. Despite that, he remains on the sidelines watching rather than learning on the pitch. The manager's reluctance to turn to him speaks volumes about how he currently views the pecking order, and that decision will continue to be scrutinized if defensive performances do not improve. With the injuries still keeping options out and weeks still to go before reinforcements can realistically arrive, the tension around these choices is only going to intensify. The atmosphere around Rangers at the moment feels like a mixture of stability on the surface and turbulence underneath, where every selection, every potential departure, and every rumor carries more weight than usual because the margins between progress and regression feel incredibly thin right now, and the support can sense that the coming weeks will define the shape of this squad in a way that will echo far beyond just one transfer window. A roar the way through the season, the feeling around Ibrox has turned into a strange blend of confidence and nervous tension, and that balance is getting harder to manage with every passing fixture. You can hear it in the stands and feel it in the conversations among the support, because this is no ordinary campaign. Every decision, every rumor, and every small detail seems to carry more weight than usual, and that pressure is starting to show in different areas of the squad. The midfield situation has become one of the quiet talking points, not because of what is happening on the pitch, but because of what is not happening. There are players who were once seen as potential key pieces now drifting further towards the edge of relevance, and that creates an uncomfortable sense of wasted potential. In a club like Rangers, where expectations never take a day off, being on the fringe is often worse than being openly surplus. It keeps a player in limbo, and over time that can drain confidence, sharpness, and belief. That sense of drifting is something the support can feel even if it is not always spoken about in public. At the same time, the manager finds himself walking a tightrope between being ruthless and being fair. Every change he makes sends a message not just to the player involved, but to the entire dressing room. Drop a struggling player and you show that standards are non-negotiable. Stick with him and you show loyalty and belief. The problem is that when performances wobble, neither option fully satisfies everyone. The Rangers' job has always been like that. You are never more than one poor performance away from being questioned, and never more than one good run away from being praised. Training ground whispers suggest that the intensity behind the scenes has been raised another notch. Sessions have become sharper, more demanding, and more focused on repetition of the basics that make this team hard to play against. There is a clear emphasis on shape, compactness, and responsibility, because when the team loses those things, it looks far more vulnerable than it should. The staff know that systems do not win games on their own, but habits do. Strong habits build strong teams, and right now that is where the real work is being done. One of the most interesting aspects of this period is how quickly opinions can shift. A player can be criticized one week and celebrated the next, and that emotional swing is part of the fabric of football in Scotland. The margin for error is tiny, and that reality does not just live with the players, it lives with the supporters as well. Everyone knows that Rangers should dominate domestic matches, control the tempo, and impose themselves. When that control slips even slightly, the reaction is immediate because the standard has been set so high for decades. There is also the growing sense that January is going to define more than just this season. The decisions made in that window will say a lot about the direction of the club. Whether Rangers choose to move players on permanently, bring in fresh energy, or simply hold their nerve with what they have, will shape not just the rest of this campaign, but the identity of the squad going forward. You can feel that the club is standing at a kind of crossroads where short-term fixes and long-term planning are quietly battling for priority. Supporters have started to look more closely at the younger players in the squad because youth always represents hope. A young player is a blank canvas for many fans, someone who has not yet failed them and who could, in their imagination, become the next big thing. That can be unfair on the player, but it is also part of what makes football emotional rather than logical. When the established names are not fully convincing, the idea of fresh legs and fearless energy becomes incredibly attractive. Behind all of this, there is still a foundation of belief that this group can be competitive. The results have not collapsed, and there have been moments of real quality that hint at what could be built, but belief in football is a fragile thing. It needs to be protected by consistent performances and clear direction. Without that, it starts to fracture into doubt. And once doubt sets in, even small problems can feel enormous. The noise from outside the club has not helped. Every rumor is amplified, every supposed link given life, and every minor issue turned into a headline. Rangers have always lived in a spotlight bigger than most Scottish clubs, and that comes with both privilege and pressure. The players feel it, the staff feel it, and the support certainly feels it. The trick is learning how to use that pressure as fuel rather than letting it become a weight that drags everyone down. Inside the dressing room, there's a growing awareness that this period could define reputations. Some players are fighting to prove they belong long-term. Others are fighting to rediscover the form that once made them automatic starters. That kind of environment can either sharpen a team or split it. Right now, the signs suggest that the fight is still there, but it is being tested in ways that only Rangers can produce. The coming fixtures are seen not just as games, but as small battles for momentum. Confidence is built in tiny moments. A strong tackle, a well-timed run, a leader shouting instructions at the right time. These details rarely make headlines, but they build the structure of a team that wins titles. Rangers have lived off those details in the past, and there is a quiet hope that they can be rediscovered in the present. There is no doubt that the road ahead is going to be uncomfortable at times. That is the reality of competing at the level Rangers expect. Comfort rarely breeds success, and right now there is very little comfort inside or outside of Ibrox. But there is also a sense that the story is far from written, that the pieces are still moving, and that the next few weeks will bring clarity to a situation that currently feels cloudy, tense, and full of unanswered questions, while the blue side of Glasgow waits to see which direction this team truly decides to take. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Whispers are circling through Ibrox, and it seems the corridors of Rangers are crackling with tension. James Tavernier, the club's skipper and talisman, has reportedly thrown the squad into turmoil with actions that, according to insiders, nobody accepted. While the specifics remain murky, sources close to the dressing room suggest this isn't the run-of-the-mill disagreement over tactics or training intensity. This is something that's struck at the very heart of team unity. Fans have long adored Tavernier for his leadership on the pitch and his knack for crucial goals. But now whispers suggest the same man who rallies the troops on match day has caused a split among them off it. One unnamed insider reportedly said, "It's like he crossed a line and the lads just couldn't swallow it." There's been talk in the changing room, hushed tones, eyes rolling. It's a shock to everyone. Such comments have fueled speculation that the unrest could go beyond personal squabbles, hinting at a deeper friction within the squad hierarchy. The Rangers faithful are no strangers to controversy, but the timing couldn't be more sensitive in a season where every point matters and morale is as crucial as skill. An internal storm could rattle even the most seasoned professionals. The rumor mill is already spinning wild theories. Some suggest a training ground confrontation. Others whisper of disagreements over captaincy decisions or disciplinary measures. Whatever the truth, the chatter is loud enough to make supporters anxious and pundits curious. Tavernier, normally composed and media-savvy, has been noticeably absent from public statements addressing the issue. Meanwhile, speculation over the manager's role in calming or fueling the fire has only added fuel to the gossip. Could a star player's actions spark a larger crisis? Could locker room tensions affect performance in the weeks to come? In a club steeped in history and pride, such stories don't stay quiet for long. The city is buzzing, social media is alight, and every whisper from Ibrox seems to carry weight. For now, it remains a simmering storm. One skipper, one squad, and a controversy that has no easy answers. The Rangers faithful can only watch, wonder, and hope that unity returns before the rumor turns into something much messier. In the world of football, especially in the blue of Ibrox, drama isn't just on the pitch, it's everywhere you look. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.